John's just here for his good looks. That's it.
You know, my normal response to that. Can you imagine how shallow the candy dish is if I'm the eye candy?
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, John,
okay,
John hello. Welcome.
Woohoo!
Welcome back, everybody, to the PoddiMouths podcast. A podcast.
You know what? Even though it's not Thanksgiving
nothing.
week, we're still thankful for our listeners and viewers, aren't we?
Thankful? Or we're thankful?
I kind of stuttered there, didn't I? Thankful.
You
full of
stop,
thanks.
You should stop drinking.
It should be that.
So early
full
in the
of
morning.
thanks should be thanksful.
I like it. It's just like potty dusting. We're thankful.
Yes. I think we have to change all of that stuff.
Let's do
one
it.
I changed for, we've all heard the phrase, you're full of shit. And so I shorten it with my son and wife when I say, you are shitful.
Shitful.
Yeah. Which I
love that.
We may want to try that along with
thanksful. I wonder if I can use that as a title. Shitful. Shitful.
You might have to change the S
to
to a $sign or something.
Something like that. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm that's my challenge for this week is to try to change that word to be able to live in our title.
I just would like to say that we got that out of the way right up front. So that's
right up front.
That's very good. So how are you? How was your Thanksgiving? I know something our listeners don't know.
But they will unless they're friends of mine on Instagram, then they'll know too, because that's where I put up all the pictures. But
that's true.
I had a fantastic Thanksgiving, I think.
A new tradition.
A new tradition. We can dive into the good things and the bad things of the whole thing here in just a minute. But we decided to go camping.
Things?
There were, we talked about this not the bad things, but the camping. We talked about the camping last week with our guest, Amy Atkin. And she also was supposed to go camping. I don't know if she actually did or not, but we did. We made it out to Land Between the Lakes and found a nice dispersed camping spot and set up camp for a couple of days. And I think we had a good time. I had a good time. Jeep got, fjord. He got to stretch his legs a little bit on some of those back roads. Nothing too technical, but it was enough to make the girls nervous. Peyton learned a new term this past trip, and that was what the shit handle is, or the oh shit handle rather.
Yes.
We explained to her what the oh shit handle is, and she definitely not only used the oh shit handle a lot, she used the phrase oh shit a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Just referring
because
to
you gave her the green light.
Because we gave her the green light just for that few minutes while we were traveling the mile back it took us on the back roads. It is worthy. It's okay once in a while, I guess. As long as she doesn't use it in front of her teachers or her friends.
Right, exactly. Oh, this was a terrible topic. I needed the oh shit handle, teacher.
Exactly.
That can be difficult. So one thing you and I share is the love for off-roading to a degree, at least.
Yeah, right.
The understanding. People who haven't done it mistakenly think that you can, you do it well, you do it fast. It's never fast. No. And we did it. I was on back in the days of Hummer, they had a separate off-road course in Indiana that I went, where all their driving professionals did they would test people to get them certified and so on. And we've talked about this, had the pleasure of being on that course. It's so cool when you have good equipment and, people helping you visually where to go and, when it really is technical.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the fastest I went, because I was looking and I was going too fast. This was way, way, way too fast for what we were doing. And I hadn't aired down. So made the ride a little bit more rough. And I did that on purpose, mainly because I didn't bring we forgot a few things and we'll go over that. But one of the things I forgot was my air pump. So I couldn't air down because then I'd have to drive, quite a few miles aired down, which is not good for your tires.
Isn't there one built in? I suppose that's a package thing with
it is. Well, you could no, it's a yes, you can get one built in. It's an option.
It's an okay.
But not from the manufacturer, as far as I know. Now, something interesting. So in the 4xEs, I have that port where I plug in. A lot of people are buying that piece that you can put, because it's just a piece on the outside that you can actually unbolt and pull off. People are actually buying that and putting that on their regular Jeeps and putting their air pump nozzle right there, which I think is a fantastic idea.
Yeah, it is a good idea.
So they have their pump internal. But anyway, I didn't bring my air pump, so I couldn't air the tires down. So it was a little bit of a bumpy ride going in.
Well, you can air them down easily. You just can't air them back.
Up. That's the problem. Yeah, I had my tool to air them down. I just didn't have my pump. But the fastest I went going in, because it was all downhill, we were going towards the lake, was 9 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And that was too fast. That was way too fast. That was fast. Yeah. On the way out, we didn't get over 3 miles an hour. So that was a little bit better getting out.
But how fun. And was that the first time, obviously, or apparently for Peyton, but also for Jen, or no?
Yes. Well, yes and no. When we were in South Dakota on the way from Colorado to my dad's, we did go off a little bit trying to find some dispersed camping, but it wasn't quite that rough.
For idiots, I mean, obviously I know, but what is dispersed camping?
Dispersed camping is in most national forests and in most BLM land areas. You can go camp pretty much anywhere you want. There are a few things you got to look for. Obviously, there are signs that say no camping. They do have it's very loose, but they're designated areas for dispersed camping, but they're not really. So you can pretty much camp anywhere you want. What you look for, though, if you're not experienced with it, is look for fire rings for people have camped previously. And that's just kind of an indication that you can definitely camp there because someone already has. But there isn't anything saying that you can't go and find a camping spot somewhere and just park it. But you have to be careful. For example, land between the lakes is actually national forest. So technically you can go in and disperse camp, but it's one of the few that you actually have to buy a permit to do that. So we can go camp anywhere we want to on land between the lakes, which is kind of an island. It's not really, but it is. It's really just land between two rivers that have been dammed. But you actually, it's $10 per person for 3 nights, or for 3 days rather, 2 nights, 3 days. So for us, anyone under the age of 18 is free. So Peyton was free. So it was $20 for us to spend 2 nights in land between the lakes. So it's not bad. And we could, like I said, we could camp virtually anywhere. There's some rules for anyone that doesn't know land between the lakes. There are a ton of cemeteries, and part of those were people that were moved when they dammed the rivers. They moved the cemeteries up. So there's just a bunch. You can't camp anywhere near the cemeteries. You can't camp in the cemeteries, obviously. There are some designated areas for hunting during hunting season that you obviously don't want to camp in, but you can't. But there's signs everywhere that say, camp here, camp there, so on and so forth. And then, of course, you use your apps, multiple apps to find different places. I use OnX Off-Road, which comes with the Jeep. They give you a short membership, like a 3-month membership, but I paid for the year. And then I have a couple others that I use because that is great to show you the back roads, the roads where you can go legally, and also show you property lines. But then there's some other apps that show you actual dispersed camping spots that people have stayed on. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So that's dispersed camping in a nutshell.
So what were some of the, thank you. So what were some of the, you said the good and the bad. What were some of the downsides? Well, along with the upsides. The
downsides is, we have to be careful how I say this because, we forgot a few things, which most of the stuff we forgot was my fault because I didn't have my normal packing list. When I put everything away from the Colorado, South Dakota, North Dakota trip, I really just tried to find places for it. I didn't organize it very well. So I tried to reorganize before I packed everything to the Jeep. So we forgot a few things, and they were stupid things. Like I forgot cooking oil. So you couldn't put anything on the pots and pans to cook. We used them to cook, but now I've got to really scrub my cast iron because I, didn't have anything to help, or butter. What else? So this is the part that I have to be careful of. So there have been a few times where I get a little bit of shit from my significant other because I want to buy certain things. I want to buy camping things. And most of the things I want to buy are luxuries, and I will admit that. But there are a few things that come off as luxuries that even she said when we were there, man, I really wish we had X, Y, and Z. And I had to look and say, I told you so. Yeah. So of course there was I had to. I absolutely had to. So that was the bad stuff. There were in the beginning, the first day, there was definitely some stress. Because, camping, and it's camping in the cold. So it's, there were no warnings, but the fire level was set to high, meaning you should be very careful when you start a fire. So we didn't know if we should or not. So we had to kind of scour the area because we were sitting on what would be considered the windward side of the little peninsula we were on. So it could get windy, but it wasn't windy the first day. So, there was a lot of just trying to get things set up, and there was just a lot of stress. It was the first time we as a family set up our big tent. We took the big tent, the 10 person, not our little tent. So I had set that up in the garage by myself once with very little, and when I say very little help, there was no help because Peyton was off doing her own thing. So this was the first time Jen was trying to help me set up the tent, and there was obviously some frustration because of communication. So things like that, normal stuff that any family would go through when you go camping for the very first time with certain equipment. Right. But the biggest frustration I think we all had was the dogs. They were pretty much crying the entire way there in the car, because that's what Clyde does when he gets in the car, is he just likes to talk and sing, and he's just very excited. And then they just were under our feet, and we had them leashed and tied to a long lead tied to a tree. So they couldn't run off, but instead of trying to run off, they were under our feet, which got very annoying. And of course they were whining and crying, and so it got very, very annoying. So that was the stressful part. But once we got everything set up and everything was good, then cooking became an issue because we didn't have a lot of table space, and so and cooking oil and all of that stuff. So there were just in the beginning, there was just that level of stress. That was the negative. But here was one of the most positive things I got was I wasn't expecting this. On the second full day, towards the end of the day before we went to bed, Jennifer asked me if we should extend our permit and stay a few more days. And I'm like, that's a win. Of course I didn't want to, because the big rains were coming the next day, and then we would have to come back. So we'd be packing up in the rain, which would not be fun. And I said, it's already going to rain. It was raining that night. So, we're already going to be packing wet gear.
Did it actually come to fruition? Did it rain? Oh yeah. Really hard?
Yeah. Did it? Well, I don't know there. It's 2 hours away. So I don't know if it rained really hard there, but it rained here. So I would assume that it rained there. But it rained hard that night. And I said, we're already going to be putting wet gear away. I'd rather put wet gear away while it's dry out than put wet gear away when it's still wet, for sure. Raining. So, but so I did a little exploring, going off, and this is the gross part for anyone that, is not wanting to hear this part about camping.
If you're squeamish, you may want to, turn down your,
it's not a squeamish thing. We're going to be talking about poop.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Because what you do when you go camping, you go poop in the woods. So I was going to find my spot, unless you have an RV. So I was looking for a spot, and I came across, which you saw a picture of it. Probably not, because it was a video picture, but I will post pictures on Eat Drink Road and PoddiMouths. Not of me pooping, but someone had put in what they called a cedar throne. So what they found a downed log, which happened to be cedar, which is where the cedar part came in, the cedar throne. And then they put two pieces of wood, made a triangle, and then a stand in between. And they shaved off, or they smoothed out the wood so you could sit on that. And it was on top of a hill looking down over the lake. So it was the cedar throne. And I mean, it's way back in the woods. I just randomly stumbled upon it, and of course had to use it because it was there. I mean, if it's there, you're going to use it, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll put pictures, not of me sitting there or not of anything gross, but I will put pictures of the cedar throne up there because it was pretty cool. If you have an appreciation for things like that, it was definitely fun.
Well, I will tell you, and it's interesting that you say that, because I've had such an experience myself by our house that we're trying to build, which everybody knows that story.
By your house in the woods?
There is actually a porta potty, so I found it really easily. And Cedar Throne, it's right over there. If you see it, you go right in there.
Cedar Throne.
Yeah, exactly. So understand. I would travel with a porta potty, I think.
We do.
I mean, anybody who, I know I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I would travel with the really stand-up one that you can close the door on the trailer. You know, maybe an RV is in your future. No. I'm going to the porta potty with a tent is perfect. I think that would be a really smart idea.
Well, one of the other things, and this is the, speaking of not quite that, to that extent, we've talked about campers, we've talked about all these different things, and how we probably would eventually. I still like the more rustic camping, and I like being able to go off grid, right?
Yes.
The one thing I think I finally talked Jen into, which this one is definitely a luxury. This is not a necessity whatsoever, unlike the tables and the is a camping trailer, like an off-road trailer. We can put all the gear in. And then have a pop-up tent on the rack on top. I think I finally talked her into that, because the biggest problem was, when it was just me camping, I could put everything in the Jeep. It's fine. And the people that I watch on YouTube, they do that all the time. But one thing you ever notice is they only have one, maybe two people in the Jeep at any given time, not 3 people and 2 dogs.
Yeah.
There just is not enough room. We were packed to the gills. There's not enough room.
I don't know
all the gear.
How you fit it. I seriously,
I'm a really good packer. I'm a really good packer.
And that's great. The trouble is, though, I will, you and I are simpatico on this, that you can be a great packer, but 2 things happen. First of all, you unpack and you see all the stuff and you go, dang, I just did a rocking job. And then the horror is when you go, how the heck do I get this all back in? I mean, we were at a hotel on Saturday night, and I've got my suitcase, and I packed one night, so I had my suitcase, no big deal, but I had some boots and yada yada. I'm packing up my DOP kit, the cosmetic little thing that dudes have.
Your makeup. Yeah.
As a dude, it's my makeup bag. And I'm thinking, why doesn't this stuff fit? Because the liquids I always have out in a Ziploc in a separate spot. Lost that because we didn't fly anywhere to get to this hotel we drove. And so was frustrated because how come it doesn't fit? Oh, because I didn't have the liquid separated out.
Yeah.
So it's driving me nuts because, and I stress about that when we're just on a road trip, business trip, where I hope I can get this packed because I got to be up early to get to the airport. Yep. I better wake up an hour early to make sure I can, and I pack in 2 minutes and jam it in and he hit the zipper and boom, I'm ready to go. But I always freak about it because that's the thing that'll, well, then what? Well, then you start throwing crap away.
And that's the thing. So that's a great example too, because when I'm traveling for business, I do it so much. There's a place in my bag for everything. And I know exactly how much I can pack in that bag and what I can't. I picked that bag specifically for that. And, I do know how many days I can go in that bag, and I carry a backpack. That's all I carry. I think we've talked about that in previous episodes. So but that's where the trailer comes in from a camping perspective. If I have a trailer, and I'm not talking a big trailer, I'm talking about the ones I'm looking at right now are, I think, X Venture. They're literally utility trailers with like a truck bed, but the truck bed has a place where a kitchen can be pulled out, like a camp kitchen, and it has power and a water tank. But on the inside, it's like a truck bed where you can put all your gear, and then there's a tonneau cover over it. 4 stands on either corner, and then above that sits the pop-up tent, right?
It just feels to me like you're just avoiding an RV. Just
yes and no.
RV.
Well, so the RVs that you can take off-road are prohibitively expensive at this stage.
They aren't cheap. You're right about that. I don't disagree with that. But you can always park as long as it's a pull behind, park the RV someplace and then unhook and then take your Jeep off road.
Well, it's not about taking it. I don't care about the taking the Jeep off road just to take it off road.
Getting to the
campsite. That's what I like. So that's the kind of trailer I want to get, is something that I can.
They're awesome. There are some really beautiful ones, but for me, there's a nice teardrop. The back, and we've talked about this too. The back pops up and it's got the kitchen under there.
Yep.
Awesome unless it's raining.
Yep.
But still, it's a cool thing. And the same with the pull out, like the cassette kitchen. In the back of I've seen those for pickups, and they're pretty cool because
they are very cool.
Inside the pickup bed, especially if it's a long, an 8-foot bed or whatever, these things pull out that far. But when you put it back in, that's the bed they sleep on.
Yep.
So it's like a twin bed on one side, and underneath it is this awesome kitchen.
Is their kitchen,
including everything they need. So I noticed one. I mean, I've seen a lot of people who have built them, but then they sell it now just as a separate unit.
Yeah, well, and now of course. Well, and it's probably some of these people that built it and now have a business and they're making
probably
tons of money.
The smart
That's
ones,
how a lot of the trailers are being developed.
That's true.
This X-Venture, I think it's X-Venture, but this trailer company is also, the benefit of it is most of the other trailers I've looked at are built in Colorado or built in Utah or and they sell them from the factory. They don't sell them at RV places, so they don't ship them out. So if you buy one, you have to go get it.
Yeah, well,
they might ship it, but it could be. But this particular one is built in Kentucky. So
okay, cool.
It's close.
Very close.
And that way you can customize and you can go look at it and stuff like that. But all of that said, there is definitely some advantage to having a regular camper, but like I said, they're just prohibitively expensive.
I know they are, and I've seen them. And I have no intention. My point of entry for a RV camper is a bathroom.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
and the other stuff comes along with it, and expansion kitchen, maybe yes or no, TV, yes or no, decent bed and all of that kitchen. But the reason to pull a trailer is you got a pooper, and that's the rest of the stuff is ancillary.
Yeah.
For the most part for me, and sleeping, obviously.
Well, yeah. So getting back to the pooper. So we do carry a portable toilet. It's a, what do they call them? It's a cassette toilet. So it's a toilet and then you got a pot under it and you put water in it and it works. And we usually use that. So it's there for the nighttime because you don't, I'm not going to go out I never use it. It's really for the girls. Or an extreme emergency, which, that's definitely why you have it. But the girls aren't going to go out in the woods in the middle of the night to use the restroom.
No.
So we have it for that.
Don't blame them.
And you know what? They don't use it during the day, which, they go out and try to do whatever they need to do in the woods, which is, that's part of the camping experience. So it's really just there for an emergency. And we have a tent, so it's separate from ours. So it actually has a pop-up tent that goes over it. So it's its own bathroom. Which doubles as a shower in the summer when we actually have our shower with us. So anyway, that was one of the other negatives is we figured out because we haven't used it that much. It's just for emergencies, but I bought the shorty cassette, not the tall cassette, because we're not going to go out for many days. Right. So the shorty cassette's probably from a size perspective is the right size. We don't fill it.
Yeah.
But the one thing that Jennifer said to me was, we need to get something different for that toilet because it sits too low. And that's definitely an issue. So that was one of those things that, okay, we should have gotten the bigger one, or we need to build a stand that it can sit on. But of course that takes up more space. Could you take the
cassette and take it over to the Cedar throne?
You could, technically. Absolutely.
I'm a problem solver.
I would not try to navigate to that Cedar throne in the woods. That it was about 200 yards away from the camp.
In the middle of the night would not be
in the middle of the night.
And there's probably a bear using it. There's probably a bear there.
We didn't hear any bear, but we heard a lot of coyote.
Well, they're quiet bear. I mean,
well, yeah. Supposedly there are black bears in the land between the lakes for anyone that goes. Because, I know almost all of our listeners are going to want to go after my description of our
it's really
it's appealing for most people.
It's very enthralling. So you talked about are you ready to segue?
I was going to segue, but go ahead.
We should say this. Well, no, I've got the segue about you thinking about the premium things or luxury items that you get.
Sure.
Because I think we all do that. We'll go on Amazon or whatever website is yours to, check stuff out. And especially lately with Black Friday and Cyber Monday, which is today because we're recording on Monday. One of the things that I find interesting with all that is they're just trying to sell you stuff. And it's stuff you may or may not need. Yeah. And this is obviously early in the day, but is this something that you have?
I've already looked at my,
have you
already looked at my Amazon Cyber Monday deals? No, I haven't bought. I haven't purchased anything, but
you looked.
I looked and REI. I looked at my REI and I looked at Dick's. So yes. Yeah. So anyway, one thing. So
wait. Well, no. You looked at what else? REI, and you looked at what else?
Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm proud. I'm proud, and
I did not want anyone to take that out of context.
You can see under my armpit right now. You probably see one of my puffer things here. One of my puffer blankets. All of my sleeping bags and stuff are laid out on the ground, airing out. So one of the things that I'm looking at, because we have a good sized house. I'm not going to lie. We have a lot of space, probably too much space for 3 people, but the space is not built for, and we talked about this when we talked about cars. One of the reasons I like the Jeep is it fits my lifestyle, not because not because of any other reason than that I just like them and they fit my lifestyle.
Yeah, sure.
Our house doesn't necessarily fit the lifestyle we want. It never has. And we recognize it. We love our house, but it's just not I like a very open, I'm more of a modernist. I like modern, wide open houses. I mean, give me a concrete house with big windows. I'm happy. And Jen doesn't like that, but she's more of the open, where house is not an open concept house, but we also don't have a lot of space for our interests, if you will. I do. I've got my office, which is a really good space because I can work up here. I can podcast up here, but there's some useless space back here that I never use. You see my bookshelf, right? My bookshelf against a really big wall. Well, one thing that we don't have, because our garage is too small and our garage we cannot keep the bugs out of our garage. We can keep the mice out, but we can't keep the bugs out, is a place to put our camping gear. So for those of you who don't know, when you store camping gear, you're supposed to store, for example, your sleeping bags not stuffed in a bag. You have to hang them because that keeps everything,
airs them out.
Sure. It airs them out, but it also keeps all of the filler.
It's fluffy.
Up. It's fluffy, and that keeps you warmer because if you stuff them, then it gets stuffed and compact and it doesn't keep you as warm. So I am going to, because no one ever comes up here except for me, but not all of our books, but we have another bookshelf downstairs. I'm going to take my bookshelf out. I'm going to put a rack on the wall and I'm going to hang. this is going to be our camping storage center. So in the future,
the only problem I see.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can continue.
I was going to say that's because this is an unused space back here.
Sure.
And there's a closet on this side.
What's the problem?
What?
Lugging stuff up and down the stairs.
It's not going to be my heavy stuff. So like all of the heavy stuff is in totes and those are in the garage and they're going to stay in the garage. This is going to be backpacks. It's going to be the stuff you don't want that can't get dirty, that needs to air out, that needs to hang.
Got it.
Our liners, our bags, our puffer blankets. So that orange thing is a puffer blanket. It's not a sleeping bag. There's a sleeping bag in front of it, but there's a blue puffer right here too. But anyway, so that's the kind of stuff that's going to be in here. Hanging.
Okay. So are you searching for, have you searched for something? Does REI, do they know what's going on in your head?
They, of course they do. But I have settled on, I'm going to go to Home Depot and I'm going to get pipe. Because again, my modernist view, I like, the steel pipes that you can get the anchor to the wall, a pipe out, an elbow, screw it in, cross, same thing on the other side.
Lisa did that for me in my old office, and it was cool. It was like just it was a closet that we didn't put a door on, and that's exactly what she did. And it's a very cool thing. Okay, I got to stop just for a second because I'm looking, and you've told me this, and I never really envisioned it, but it's obviously chilly in Nashville because you've got the hand cuff things. Come on. Hold it up. Okay.
So
I did not know the men's sweaters had that. Is that a men's sweater?
It is a men's sweater. It's a cool.
Okay.
It's a KUHL, not a sponsor.
Okay.
Miss Atkin can actually attest to this because I always, every time she wears, she has a winter coat that's a cool.
Who's a female? Yes. Okay.
She's a female. And they make, dude, I'm sorry. This sweater is.
It's a nice
15?
sweater. I'm not calling out the sweater. I'm calling out the cuff things.
Yeah.
And here's what I want from our listeners and viewers. Hold them up. Viewers can help out.
I don't always do this, by the way. It just happens. I did it today.
I mean, it looks fine if you pull your thumbs out. It looks like a regular sweater.
I'm wearing a dress shirt today, and I had to put my thumbs through because I was thumbs. I put the thumbs through the hole.
Yeah, you had to put them through why? You said you had to.
Because I have a dress shirt on. I don't usually wear a dress shirt under this. So I had to pull so the sleeves would go all the way because it was getting stuck on. And I just never took them out because you were rushing me. But no, this is how I usually wear them. So it looks like this.
Okay, thank you.
But I do,
That's better. I just wanted to make sure we brought that.
But folks, I want to talk about this sweater because this is it wasn't the last gift my mom ever got me, but my mom bought this for me about 15 years ago. Look at, I mean, it is a very good looking sweater that's 15 years old and it's still extremely warm.
I concur. It has nothing to do with the cuff thumbs.
No, no, Cool is known for that. They do that on almost all of their clothing.
All I want is our audience to weigh in. Let us know what you think.
Go for it.
And maybe I'm way off. Maybe I've just never owned one. I've seen them. My wife has one, 10 probably. And no, she has a couple. We're in Florida. We don't wear sweaters, but I think hers are, I don't know. But so we'll have to get our audience feedback. So let us know.
Yeah, let us know
what your take is on that.
You can Go ahead. You can buy Cool at REI and at Dick's Sporting Goods.
All right, fine.
Otherwise known as
while
Dick's.
While you're looking at Dick's, you can buy one of those.
Well done, sir. Well done.
I just made myself laugh. All right.
You did.
So
I'm looking it up now.
Welcome to PoddiMouths Double Entendre Week.
KU with umlauts, HL.
HL with umlauts. It has to have umlauts because you're German. Okay. So
while you're talking about that, I'm going to look up something similar because they don't make this sweater anymore. I'm going to tell you because these are not cheap. I mean,
if
it's 15 years.
I'm not making a judgment call on anything about that sweater other than the thumb holes. That's it. Everything else, it looks delightful. And on you, it represents very well on your wonderful physique.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep digging yourself out of that hole.
It's just the cuff thing. You're manly and you're wearing it very well.
Thank you.
Representing for all mankind.
But now, of course, I can't find one that has the holes.
Of course not. Yeah. Find one with Tom Brady wearing one of those.
I found one. The Commando Crew, which is, I think, the guy looks like Tom Brady. He's got a mustache. So this one does have holes in it. It is the men's. It's a Commando Crew, so it's not a sweater, but it's a shirt. It's got a zipper. $60 just for a long sleeve T-shirt.
What's it called again?
It is the
Commando Crew.
Commando Crew. KOMMANDO Crew.
So you can't wear underwear with it?
I guess not.
Okay, it's a Commando Crew.
It's a Commando Crew.
When you're looking at Dick's.
There we go.
Do they have it at Dick's?
Evader sweater. This is not this one. It's $139. This is expensive. I will be honest. I would probably, if this weren't a gift, I probably wouldn't own this.
It's a very nice sweater, and for you to, came from your mom. That's a very nice thing. But you've talked about it before. You said, "I can't wait till it gets chilly enough in Nashville."
I love this sweater.
This is
my favorite sweater by far.
Well, and you love cold anyway, so I understand all of that. I'm wearing my favorite T-shirt, so I'm not. I have 20 of them in my closet. 20. Just like it.
So for those of you who don't know, once in a while, very rarely, John and I will do we're not doing one today, but we'll do back to back episodes just so we have enough to stretch a couple of weeks while we're off doing
in the can, as we call it.
In the can, yep. Once in a while. Obviously, we fail at that more often than not, but once in a while we do that. John has to go and change his hat. I have to go change all of my clothes because you're used to seeing him wearing nothing but black shirts.
I've trained our audience.
Yeah.
Like 1/10 of our audience, if that, watches on YouTube.
Which is, one person. Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, now people are starting to watch on Spotify.
And that's true. That's another capacity. So
yeah,
we're
just waiting for Spotify to offer us millions of dollars.
Yeah, I'm wondering if people are going to look at that differently. All right, I got to take a quick break. I'm sorry, because a guy's here to pump our septic thing for the 50th time.
Well, I knew you were full of shit, John.
Yeah, I'll tell you more.
All right. Well, I'm going to sit here. A break on PoddiMouths is never really a break. I could put a nice edit going, Poddiest interruptus, but I'm not going to. I'm going to, because we can still hear John in the background. Oh, Lisa's handling. Damn it. This is going to be comedy gold, John.
Hold on.
I have to hold on now. He's waiting for his, yeah.
Well, I just had to wait for my ears to reconnect.
Oh, well.
Not my ears.
Some of us are wired.
I used to be, and until I figured out that these would work with this particular computer.
Well,
so in this rental, we have had just unending problems with septic. There are 2 of us living here, 2 people. And
well, John, we all know you're full of shit.
Number 2, well, apparently I'm not. Apparently I'm empty of it because it keeps. Yeah. So the people who own it have a dire need for a new septic field and can't get it without a permit. They finally got it. I understand why they've been putting it off. It's $25,000 for a new septic cheap. Field.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So,
and it has been for years.
Coincidentally, we're waiting on an approval on our septic for the new house. And so there's a hole dug, and my life is septic right now, which is great. But Thanksgiving, it's wonderful to go into the bathroom and you go, oh, I sure hope this flushes.
Well, I want to talk about your Thanksgiving here in a minute, but
me too.
Just to kind of finish that, it's funny because while we do these episodes, I sit down and I think most of you know this. I sit and I write what the title of the episode is going to be. So here's the title of the episode so far: Sh1tful.
This should be good.
Sh1tful, Cedar Throne, septic issues.
Oh,
this is the shitty episode, and that's how I'm going to write it.
Well,
it is.
I think
some would argue that, folks.
Some would argue that it's not the only one.
No, but it's kind of one of those things. It's not a shitty episode. I think it's a fantastic episode, but it's going to be called the shitty episode.
I think it has to be. And you think forever, like 20 years from now, they'll still be talking about this shit. Remember the shitty one?
Yep, the shitty one. Yep. And I hope they do, because that's a powerful thing when you can actually say, I really enjoyed, my favorite one was the shitty episode.
I think years from now, they'll ask us, can you pinpoint when you went viral?
It was the shitty episode. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of shitty episodes.
Okay.
How was your Thanksgiving, John?
It was, well, thank you for asking. It was you know what? It was really good. It was a good segue. It was good. We had hoped to travel to Vero Beach to my nephew's place. I think we talked about that. Sadly, they got sick. And happily
with the vid?
No, don't say it. No,
I'm sorry, Coco.
Because happily it's kind of gone away from the Coco where we don't say, but it's not Coco, I think we've graduated from that. It was a cold. And Lisa kind of had the end of a cough cold thing too. So I said, fine, thanks. I hope you guys feel better. Sorry. Because we were bringing the turkey and all, and so I hope you find something to eat. We're laughing because we still had to make the turkey. Lisa made the turkey. It was delicious.
Oh,
and so we do a little, it was juicy.
I sound disappointed.
Oh my gosh,
I'm not, but
she goes, this was probably my best turkey ever. And we didn't eat it. Then we got an invitation, thankfully, to my son's in-laws place.
Okay.
And it was a wonderful spread and just really a nice time. But Lisa goes, this is the best one I've ever done. And we froze it. Cut it up. We made some soup, and with the carcass. But, so we froze it. It was but it's what you do. Mashed potatoes went to waste, and happily she didn't make the stuffing because we're just not big carb heavy, despite how awesome
to me, the stuffing is the best part. It's delicious, stuffing.
But I don't need it. I do not need to load up. You know what I need? How do I make my shirts tighter? I'd say more stuffing and mashed potatoes.
Absolutely. So that was one of the things that went wrong. Well, both. So I don't like boxed anything, you know that, but I bought boxed mashed potatoes to bring with us and stuffing.
Like Hungry Jack sort of.
Yeah. And I looked at the box before we left for the mashed potatoes, and you needed milk and butter, which we were not taking either. So the mashed potatoes stayed home. And then when we made the stuffing, we didn't have a measuring cup. So too much water got into the stuffing. So it was kind of soupy. So those were the two big things, but that was the one thing I said, you know what, we're not having Thanksgiving dinner, but I want stuffing because I don't care what else we make on Thanksgiving. I have to have stuffing.
So you didn't have turkey? We
had slices of turkey in a wrap. Picture you saw Peyton eating. That was a turkey wrap. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, and some stuffing and some, we did boil some potatoes.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah. And we found, and I don't know how we got lucky and found a little olive oil bottle. And I mean a small one, probably, 4 inches tall, because normally, it's either you have a vat of olive oil. Yeah, that's the 40-gallon one. Oh, good. Where's the small one? No, that is the small one. And, you can't take it with you. And for camping or even, we'd go to a Town Place Suites or whatever with a kitchen in the room. And so, I want that little bottle of olive oil, and you can use their dishes and make some nice. But without that, you're right. You're scrubbing the heck out of your stainless steel stuff just to try to get it clean. Yep. So it can be
and I'll admit it's a few days later and we still haven't gotten to it. That's the nice thing about cast iron.
Yeah.
it's going to be there tomorrow.
Cast iron, sure. You just let it soak a little bit. That's very, very smart. So we just going backwards real quickly because I know we've got no, not at all. We have back to the Black Friday. I will tell you that I've been getting Black Friday stuff for a week and a half now.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
And it's okay, great marketing, I guess, but there are things that I still needed to buy for the house that I was kind of waiting to see what would happen. Yeah. And so it was TVs.
That's So I did look at TVs today too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it was in your feed and it was in mine too. And so I ended up with 3 TVs.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Well, but that's what we needed. Yeah. So I got I'll tell you what I got, and then you can guess at the price I got for the great room, which is pretty good sized, as you'll see. A 70-inch flat screen. It's so it's a brand name. I won't.
Samsung. I heard you say
Samsung. It. All 3 of them are Samsung. Not a sponsor, but
not a sponsor.
Obviously, they should be now.
Right.
That and it's I think it's a
UHD.
4K. It's UHD, but it's not the they had the
QLED or the OLED.
Yeah, it's neither of those like the last one was. Because honestly, I'm not sophisticated enough to tell the difference. Anyway,
I'm not either.
Yeah. So anyhow, it's supposed to be an awesome TV. So we'll find out. And then I needed one for outside on the lanai that will hang, and one for the guest room. Because often I end up in there and I want a TV to fall asleep to. Sometimes that works for Lisa, sometimes not. So those 2 50-inch TVs is what I got for one in the lanai, one in the great room, and then the big 70. And they're all Samsung, and they're all okay. They were all on.
And they're UHD. Which store did you buy it from?
Everyone.
Best Buy?
Walmart.
Walmart. Okay, so I would guess that your 70-inch.
And I shopped.
Your 70-inch was less than $600, and the 50 inches were less than $300.
Yeah, I got all 3 for $1,000.
Nice. Well done, sir.
It
Well
was
done.
pretty good. I mean, there's some change just because I'm hanging 2 of them, maybe 3. So I, have the $32 hanger for both of the other ones. But yeah, so
the TV
and I'm kind of going, okay, I think that's pretty good, and I'm happy with it, But when you think about before your time, but when I think about when I got my first, and we used to call them a console TV. Your folks would probably remember.
Yep. We had one. Yep.
But it was great. It was this beautiful piece of furniture, and the big TV was a 25-inch, maybe 27 at the outside. And you go, look at that picture. And it's sitting on the floor because it was furniture. It was, like oh, look at that, and you're staring at the floor when you watch. And it was not cheap when I bought my first one, but I knew I had made it. I mean, it was probably back then $600 or $700. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really remember, but it was beautiful. I'm like, oh, look at me. I got a recliner and I have this awesome console TV with a 25-inch screen. Baby. Let's watch Truth or Consequences.
I still have, it's not a console TV, but I still have a 27-inch tube TV sitting in my garage. It still works, but you can't do anything with it. You can't put it in the garbage. You have to pay to get it recycled.
Yes.
And I don't know what to do with it. So it's literally sitting on the floor in the garage. But it's amazing because these flat screens, they're easier to get rid of. I'm pointing at one right now. We have all 3
I
from
hope
the
you
studio.
are.
Yeah, we have all 3 from the studio. Not one of, and this thing is a 50-inch. It's a Scepter, which is it's a cheap brand. It's not a smart TV. It's just it's a decent flat screen TV.
Sure. Yeah.
So I have one sitting in my office. We actually have one sitting in the family room downstairs. Because over break we let Peyton watch her own TV, and Jen and I watched on this one or that one. And then we have one sitting in the bedroom right now. But we never use, but they were less than $100 a piece.
Wow.
For a 50-inch.
That's
an okay, and it's an okay TV.
Yeah.
But I have been looking, and I look very carefully because I love the memes where they show the prices $7.99, $7.99, $7.99. Ooh, Black Friday special reduced from $1,099 to $7.99.
$7.99. Yeah, I know, and it's true. There is some of that. I've seen
some of that, but so I look very carefully because I've been looking for a new TV to go in the great room. And I found, the Samsungs were fantastic today. I found one 65-inch UHD, and it was it was $395. I'm like, ooh,
wow, yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
It really is. So I'm delighted with what we found, and we'll see how it all works out. But you can drive yourself crazy trying to save $30, and at some point you go, I don't know, what was I really doing? But these things are so amazing now, and the crispness and it's just incredible. And so technology has really done television viewing a favor.
It's amazing. Sure. It's absolutely amazing.
Sure is.
And of course, we don't really watch television on the television anymore.
No,
we watch streaming, which is hilarious.
Yes, and we miss a couple of the network things. But is it worth it to spend the money to get the whole package? I don't think so. We're kind of picking and choosing now.
Yeah, but which is something I always
local stuff. But
when I was a kid and we were watching cable, and I always wanted to see certain things on certain channels, but we didn't have it, and my parents weren't going to pay for it to get those channels. Yep. And I was like, I wish we could have some sort of system where we could just pick and choose based on what we. And if I would have done it when I was a kid, we'd be billionaires.
It's
someone else's.
Well, it's kind of like that, but it's not, because, for example, there is the packaging that goes on, where you get these shows that are propped up by popular shows, and they spend the money on some things, and so it's all got to be packaged. ESPN's famous for that, for doing packaging and multiple.
Well, they're packaged with Disney Plus,
correct, and so you get those.
Believe.
I think you're right, but it's you know what? That's such a it's in flux all the time.
All the time,
it's so fluid, and you kind of go, okay, I have no idea. Here's what I like to watch, and this is what's driving our decisions. So we'll see.
Well,
but then they come out with another thing that you go, oh, I better rush out and get this because I want to see that one.
Yeah. And I think it also depends on your viewing habits too, because for example, I love Yellowstone. That we've talked about that. I'm not watching the new season yet because I'm banking the season so I can binge it. I'm a binger. We watch. Speaking of, if you get a chance, I don't know if it's your style or not because I was iffy. Wednesday, fantastic. We binged it this over the weekend. It's all about Wednesday Addams.
Oh,
it's Wednesday as a teenager. So if you get a chance, it's on Netflix Wednesday. I loved it. It was fantastic.
Interesting.
Jenna Ortega, I think that's her name, who plays Wednesday, is phenomenal. She really nails it. She's a perfect. And Christina Ricci, who made Wednesday super popular, is actually in the TV show.
Huh.
So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then
good advice.
One of the characters from Game of Thrones, the tall blonde woman who's the warrior, she's in it. So you'll recognize a few people. But I would highly recommend it.
There are some good ones too, and my doctor recommended some. So you can kind of, some of these are fine and some are not, but even like Yellowstone, we started watching, and Lisa was kind of nah. That Beth, she's such a, and now she's like, what would Beth do? And but I find myself changing her lines. I would like Beth's lines to be better. We should revisit that next week, because that is one of those things. I love some of her lines, but there are other ones where, you know what, let me just doctor that a little bit, and I think it would be better. So anyway, and you're nodding in recognition, so I'm guessing you have the same.
I agree.
We need to do some of that. Anyway,
well, we will in our next episode.
It's been great catching up. Yeah, it has been great catching up with you.
Sorry, I capitalized or not capitalized. What's the word? I can't think of the word. My words are not working today.
Mine are never working anymore. So
Speaking of yesterday, I had I had not a bad day. I actually had a very good day, but it was a very cubic, clumsy day. And it all started because, not a sponsor yet, but I take my athletic greens every morning. Yes. And I also take that with my fish oil and blah, blah, blah. And so I pour the water in, pour the powder in, and then you're supposed to shake it. But I set it down to grab my other pills. And then I went back and I chugged that without shaking it. And I'm like, this is going to be a good day. I couldn't do anything yesterday. I was dumping. I had my water bottle over, which I always close this when I set it down because I know myself. No, I left it wide open. And we were working in the kitchen and of course dump it over all over the floor. And,
I've done the shake. Where it's open and I'm not, and let me just shake this up. Come on. It's everywhere. So, I left my water bottle at the gym this morning because I was there at 6 a.m. and hey, and this is another podcast where I walked out and I'm out in the parking lot, and I said goodbye to the guy at the desk, and we've kind of become friends because I've been going a lot, which is good. And, some other people. And so am I going to do the walk of shame and go back in? And screw it. I'll get it next time. It's not like I'm not going to be there again.
Right. So, and you're probably like us. We have like a million different water bottles sitting around.
Yeah. Well, this one is my favorite.
I know the one you've had.
Flip top and we talked about that. So it's at the gym now. Maybe somebody will find it to be their favorite, or they'll hopefully hold it for me.
Hopefully his name will be Jim. Anyway,
let's hope so. I wrote Jim on
it. Yeah. All right, John. Well, it has been wonderful catching up, like you said, and
awesome,
I look forward to the next time we can continue the conversation. We'll be wearing something different, but not today.
I won't. I'm going to be wearing the same crap.
Exactly. Very true. I'll probably
you can cut and paste me in any podcast.
I can. I'm really good at that. I'm so talented. Yeah.
I know you are.
All right. Well, you have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm actually going to go start working since it's Monday. We don't usually do this I hate doing these on Monday, but we have
like
to
the
because
early morning because I've been up early to go to this stupid gym. And I'm like, okay, I'm all charged and ready. And at 2 in the afternoon.
I'm not a morning person. I'm not. I haven't even shaved yet. So anyway,
it's beautiful. It's a lovely beard.
I thank you. What did you call prodigious beard?
It's a prodigious beard. No, not yet. It's not.
Not yet.
Josh Dand, our friend, has a prodigious beard.
Right. Or our good friend Mark Fussell in Seattle. Yeah, Fussell. He has. Beard. You should see it now. He's let it go out a little bit, grow down. Yeah. So anyway, folks, we'll talk about more prodigious beards and other things on the next PoddiMouths episode. Head up to PoddiMouths.com. Check out some of our previous episodes and this one, of course, and information about us. One of these days, I will be changing that website, probably in the new year, because I'm taking some time off to work on websites. Not really. It's supposed to be time to spend with the family, but you know what I'll be doing. There'll be all three of us will be sitting next to each other on our computers doing something. Peyton is learning how to code, so hopefully she can help me.
Nice.
All that said, we will see you all next week. Have a great week, everybody. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. John, see you soon.
See ya.